You pet your cat because you love them, but there's one way of doing it that makes them think they're being punished, and it's more common than you might think. Uninvited touch. Dr. Miguel Delgado, a truly brilliant feline behaviorist, says cats form deeper emotional bonds when humans let them control how and when touch happens. When we don't, we're breaking rules we don't even realize exist. Because of this, one of the most common petting missteps is what I will call uninvited touch. You walk by the couch or, depending on the region, sofa. Your cat is resting, their eyes half closed, their tail curled around its paws. They look so adorable, like a snuggly croissant of fluff. You lean down, you give them a little scritch on the head. I would if I were there. Seems sweet, right? But from your cat's point of view, that might have felt like an ambush. Cats by nature prefer to initiate physical contact. It's part of how they protect their autonomy. Even a pleasant touch, arriving out of nowhere, especially when they're napping, grooming, or watching something, can feel abrupt, maybe even invasive. It's like someone suddenly tapping your shoulder while you're deep in thought. Even if it's friendly, it jars you out of the moment. And those could have been some good thoughts. Dr. Delgado notes that when cats are given space to initiate interactions, the resulting bond is more potent and longer lasting. In other words, affection that begins on their terms sends an entirely different emotional signal. A stronger one, a better one. So when we pet a cat without an invitation, they don't just feel surprised. They can even associate that moment with tension or a sense of loss or control. It's not about dominance, it's about consent. Once a cat knows you'll wait for their signal, they'll give you more of them. So I promise you'll still get to snuggle with your cat as much as you want to. But of course, it's not just about how you touch your cat, but where you touch them. Petting in the wrong areas. There are some places you should not touch your cat, like Paris. Nah, I'm just kidding. I mean parts of their body. Some areas of a cat's body are not public property, even if your cat rolls over and shows you their belly, which is frankly the equivalent of holding out their wallet and saying, "I trust you not to steal this." It does not mean they want you to touch that belly. Think of it like this. If you were an American football player in the store, you're not inviting strangers to tackle you, are you? In fact, for most cats, the belly is a defensive zone. Touching it often triggers a reflexive kick, bite, or sudden leap away. Not because you're being punished, but because your cat's nervous system just lit up like an arcade machine. They didn't show you their belly because they wanted you to touch it. They showed you their belly because they trust you not to. The same applies to the paws and the base of the tail. These spots are sensitive, teeming with nerve endings, and for many cats, they can be overstimulating. Even a few seconds of petting can shift a cat from a relaxed to a reactive state. The International Society of Feline Medicine, or as fans of initialisms like to call it, the ISFM, explains that when a cat becomes overstimulated, they often exhibit subtle signs, such as tail flicking, rotating ears, sudden grooming, or walking away. And when these signals are ignored, trust between a feline friend and their pet parent can casually erode. That's what's so important here. To us clumsy humans, it might just be a matter of petting. However, to a cat, touching a sensitive spot while they are enjoying closeness can feel like mixed signals, like they're in trouble. The emotional tone of the interaction suddenly changed. That creates confusion, and when cats feel confused during physical contact, they often retreat emotionally as well. Though it's not just about where you touch them, but also when. Bad timing. Petting after tension. Cats are energetic sponges. They absorb the mood of a moment with more precision than most people expect. If you've just had a stressful phone call, dropped something loud, or even just moved quickly across the room with tense body language, your cat has already clocked the emotional temperature. They are masters of reading the room. So when you go to pet them immediately after something stressful, the timing can feel off. To your cat, that touch is part of the chaos, not separate from it. They're not being petted by someone who loves them. They're being petted by someone who just screamed, "How many times do I have to tell you not to leave towels on the floor?" at their partner. This is especially true if a raised voice or sudden movement is involved. Even if you weren't angry at them, your poor little kitty doesn't know that. cats don't understand context the way we do. So without context, they have to focus on tone, energy, and timing. So when a warm hand reaches out in the middle of a tense moment, it doesn't land as comfort. It lands as conflict resolution, which in cat language is a whole different category of interaction. In such situations, some cats will freeze, others will flick their tail or move away. Some may well stay put, but if they do, you'll notice their body stiffen, their ears turn, and their breathing change. That's not affection. Sadly, that's merely tolerance. All this may lead you to thinking, well, maybe I'll snuggle my cat less then. But hold your horses, sunshine, because if you're inconsistent with petting them, that's a problem as well. Mixed signals from variable touch. Another common way cats get emotionally mixed up during petting: inconsistency. Sometimes you let them crawl into your lap and purr for ages, but other times you pick them up and set them down halfway through. The variability can confuse the emotional tone of your touch. Your hands become harder to predict, and unpredictability to a cat feels risky. Remember, they are vulnerable. They need to know they can trust who they are around. Unpredictability means touch becomes something they have to think twice about. Not because they dislike you. Never that. They adore you. But because they can't always decode you. The more consistent and gentle your interactions are, the easier it is for your cat to fully relax during contact. The more they can get into the rhythm of how you engage with them. Though you should never engage with them for too long. When petting gets too long. Have you ever had a moment where your cat was purring and you were stroking their fur, and then seemingly out of nowhere they stood up, flicked their tail, and bolted away from the snuggle puddle like they've just realized they're late for work? That wasn't random. That was a petting session that went too long. So they wanted to make that very clear and scamper. Cats often enjoy physical affection in short, controlled doses. Even when they're loving every second, there's usually a moment where the pleasure tips into sensory overload. The trick to keeping your relationship with them nice and strong is to end the session before they do. That way the interaction ends on a high note. You leave them wanting more, not recovering from too much. Think of it like finishing a movie at the perfect moment. Instead of watching until it drags, you cut to the credits and everyone feels satisfied. Practical tips: how to pet your cat so they feel loved. That's enough negative sentiments. Let's discuss what works with some S-tier tips and tricks. These are cat-approved, behaviorist-backed methods for petting that feel emotionally safe, bonding, and respectful. That's right, cat lovers. It's list within a list time. Tip 1. Use the 3-second rule. Start every petting session with a soft stroke or two. Then pause. If your cat leans in, lifts their head, or remains relaxed, continue with the interaction. If they twitch their tail, shift away, or look at your hand. Stop. This mimics the way cats groom each other. It's always brief and punctuated with pauses. That rhythm sends a clear signal. I'm checking in. Is this still okay? The pause shows respect, and respect builds trust. Tip number 2, focus on scent gland zones. There's a reason cats love being scratched on the cheeks, chin, and the top of the head. These areas are rich in scent glands, the very same glands they use to mark people and objects they trust. When you pet these spots, you're not just giving comfort. You're also providing a sense of reassurance. You're reinforcing a bond. You're activating a part of their body that's wired to associate touch with familiarity and safety. The base of the ears is another favorite for many cats. Soft rubs here often trigger relaxed blinking, gentle purring, and those irresistible little headbutts. Who knew being treated like a castle door getting attacked by a battering ram could feel so good? Tip number 3. Let them initiate. I covered this earlier, but it's worth repeating from the other point of view. Let your cat initiate the contact. Sit nearby, be still, and let them come to you. Enjoy just being in the room with them. Let them take things to the next level on their own time. A cat who walks up, rubs your legs, or hops into your lap is inviting affection. And when you respond to that invitation, instead of forcing an interaction, the emotional message lands harder. Tip number 4, end while they're still happy. This might be the hardest one, especially when everything is going perfectly. But ending petting before your cat has to pull away teaches them that affection won't turn into pressure. It keeps the emotional tone positive. They're more likely to return sooner, more likely to seek you out again, because every interaction ends with them still feeling safe. That's a powerful trust loop. And once it's in place, you'll find that your cat wants more affection, not less. Tip number 5, match their energy. If your cat is calm, approach calmly. If they're energetic, maybe play first and then try petting once they've settled. Avoid sudden energy changes whenever possible. Don't go from loud and chaotic to soft and snuggly in one motion. Cats don't switch gears like that. It makes the affectionate gesture feel disconnected from the emotional vibe in the room. When your energy matches theirs, the touch makes sense. It feels emotionally aligned. That's the kind of connection cats crave. Your cat reacts to how you touch them, but how they touch you can mean something even deeper. When they rub their face on you, it's not just scent marking, it's a test for something important. Watch this next.